When someone's asked to make something happen, so often in innovation and entrepreneurship, we start with the question, what? We've all heard it. What are you going to do? It happens in colleges and universities. It happens in workshops you might take from community or economic development groups, or from consultants in your own boardrooms. And the question comes in many different forms. What's your idea? What's your strategy? What are you offering? What is your business model? The trouble is, what is an important question, but it's the wrong place to start unless you've already answered some other important questions. For example, why are you doing it? This is an important question that you have to answer before you can answer what it is you're going to do. And some of you listening to this might recognize the question why asked in this way because it was raised and popularized recently by a guy named Simon Sinek, who talked about it in his talk Start With Why. And he's absolutely right in getting us to think about our purpose. He says to know why you do what you do before you can know what it is. But even that question is the wrong one if you haven't answered the question, who are you? Knowing who you are is so critical to staying inspired while you make change in the world that I prefer to ask, who the heck are you? And answering that question is what this topic's about. Who are you is a question that you're going to need to answer in almost any career, in almost any walk of life. And people who can answer it honestly for themselves on a regular basis are going to be that much further ahead than otherwise. And it doesn't matter what kind of work you're going to do. If you're on the traditional for-profit side in a regular company, you're going to need to know, who are you? If you're on the non-profit side in a non-profit, you're going to need to know, who are you? And especially if you're in that blended value zone in the middle of the continuum, dealing with social enterprise or a socially responsible business, you're going to need to know, who the heck are you? And I don't just mean know who you are. I mean dig deep so you really know who you are. And to do that in this topic, we're going to borrow a framework that's got three components. The actual self, who you really are. The ideal self, and your reputation. The framework looks like this, and it's been borrowed and adapted from some work of those three guys. But it's got these three pieces: the human identity, your personal brand, and your brand image. We're going to dig into those. In fact, on the human identity side, where we're looking at actual self, there are these pieces: your innate characteristics, stuff about you, your learning style or your innate happiness, things like that that are characteristics of you. Your invisible capital, that has to do with things like your specific knowledge, your specific skills, stuff that's specific to you that you know that other people don't. Your networks and your resources. And really importantly, it has to do with your values, things that you cherish, things that drive you. When we get to personal brand, we're really talking about the ideal self. And here's a definition I like: a personal identity that stimulates precise, meaningful perceptions in its audience about the values and qualities that a person stands for. And then we're going to dig into brand image, which has to do with reputation. There, we're really just talking about the image that others have of you. So you have this human identity, you have this personal brand, and they have an image of you based on all of that. And we're going to look at that as well. We'll start with the human identity, that piece that has more to do with yourself than the other two, which are really the interface of you and the external environment. We're going to have a little bit of fun by looking at the ideas of a guy named Julian Bagani. He's a psychologist, actually, who looks at self and ego and some of those concepts themselves and what they mean. And one of the things he asks us is there even a you? So we'll have some fun with that. He also starts to conclude, don't look into yourself to find your true self. Rather, shape yourself. It's a game really of discovering and creating. We're going to do that, and we're going to look a little bit at your interface with the external environment, your personal brand and your brand image. The personal brand's everything you put out there, from your Facebook page to the car you drive to the things you say when you meet people. And your brand image is what's received, the reputation that you build as a result of that, what people see and think when they hear you. With all this together, we're going to answer the question, who the heck are you? So that we can in turn answer the questions, what are you going to be doing? From a business to a project to whatever else it might be. And why are you doing it? In turn, so we can get out there and make some difference in the world, but be inspired while we're doing it. So thanks very much, and buckle up. Here we go.